So what we'll do is we'll kick off with the US dollar, and noting that today we're light on the calendar, so I don't see any news that is going to have a significant impact until later tonight, perhaps in the Asian session with the Reserve Bank of Australian minutes. Um, so nothing really for us to be particularly concerned about. It's a blackout period before the Federal Reserve. So, by that I mean there'll be no Federal Reserve speakers that could throw a spanner in the works. So, we're just going to look at price action and how we're set up. And the closer we get to the Wall Street Open at 9:30 New York, um, that's where I like to um, trade. I don't particularly like doing anything before the Wall Street Open or too much before. I mean, I'm happy to take a gold trade or whatever it might be if there's a setup um, in and around the Wall Street Open window. That's where volatility is the greatest, and you're likely to see that movement that you want to be a part of at that time of the day. So, with all that being said, we can look at the yields. And this is the daily chart, and we can see that we came up high and we dropped low. So could we be on the verge of rallying potentially? Let's have a look. So this is the 10-year yield. We've come up high, we dropped heavily, but we're still on the front side of the bullish trend. Now, what we need to see really is a break below. If we're going to be dollar bearish, then we want to see this 10-year yield continuing to fall. So let's wait and see if we get a move lower. This is the hourly chart. We'd like to get below these lows that were set um, in the London session. The Asian session lows were all the way down here. So if we do get a move below the London session lows, then we'll keep an eye on the Asian session lows, and then prospects of a continuation to the downside. Same would go for the 2-year yields. Okay, so let's keep an eye on that for the day and see how these yields perform. And then looking at the dollar in particular, these are workings that I did from the Asian session start of the week video, which was posted in the community. So let's just clean this up entirely and start again. So we had that move up. When was that? That was Thursday last week. Okay, and that might be as high as we're going to come. So that's a impulse correction, bullish continuation. And I like to measure these corrections from bottom to top of the correction. So impulse correction, get the Fibonacci tool and measure from bottom to top. So bottom to top. And I have the minus 272 as a target area on these subsequent continuation trades. So impulse correction continuation trade, looking for the minus 272 as a target. So we've reached that target and we've subsequently started to come off. So my best bet is that we're going to continue in decline for the meanwhile. Now we've got the prior highs that were met on that initial drop acting as support. So the question is whether we're going to come in deeper and test that um, support area, and I'm estimating that we will. So I'm looking for dollar weakness, and Reason being is that we're in a market that's long of the dollar, and I think we can tail off. We can have a squeeze into long dollar positions across the board. So that would equate to stronger stocks, stronger euro, cable, commodity currencies, etc. So that's what I'm uh, suggesting is going to be the outcome over the next day or so. So that's what I'm looking for. So a squeeze into uh, dollar longs. All right, and then we've got if we measure the length of the impulse with the Fibonacci, we've got the 38.2 as 104.68, and then various targets below within that Fibonacci scale. So this being the core of the support area potentially as we come into prior highs and so forth. All right, all this stuff in here is an area that we can target. Now, on the day itself, how are we looking? So if I go to the template, and I'm just going to clear up the chart entirely again. So these lines here, we've got the last week's highs. Can't see video. Try refreshing leave the meeting and come back in. We've got last week's highs, and if you've got further problems, let me know and I'll send you screenshots as we go. And then we've got last week's highs, yesterday's lows. I say yesterday, I mean Friday. So Friday was an inside day. The significance of that is when you've got an inside day, you've got traders that are shorting that with their stops above. And you also have traders that are buying the dips with stops below. So the significance is that we can either come up or come down, but we're looking for a test of yesterday's lows and highs today. Now, what we might find is we might have a pop up and then a drop, or we might just drop. I mean, I'm I'm guessing that we're going to come lower, so um, I think the stops below are going to be targeted. Um, it's not unusual to have two inside days, but it's more probable that we'll come down to test either side of Friday's range today. Um, so now let's come down to the 15-minute chart and look at the how we've performed in each session. So we've got Asia in the sort of orange or brownish bracket. We've got London's range between the green bracket, and we're opening up in New York, heading up into the shorts of the London range and gap time. Gap time between New York opening and London closing. And that's sort of gap time, right? So we're squeezing the shorts. We're coming up into Friday's closing price, which could act as resistance. All right, so we're moving up potentially to come down and move into Friday's lows. Okay, that's the bearish thesis. I could be wrong and this could continue higher, but I'm favoring that we're going to meet support in and around here, maybe a touch above. Maybe we'll come up to London stops. But either way, I'm looking for the pump and then the dump. Now, I've put this under the M and W bracket. Presumably, we've got. Let's have a look. Right, okay. So we've got this kind of wonky W formation, which is also bearish. So Resistance over here, long squeeze into the neckline. That's the longer term outlook on the weekly chart. So we've got a number of weeks here. I mean, it would be more, well, I would say it's very likely that we're going to have a bearish week. I mean, at some point, you're going to have a correction. So we're up at resistance. So looking for a correction. So looking for a bearish week for the dollar. Strong impulse, looking for the correction on the daily chart. All right, so we're looking to sell high the US dollar for the day ahead, and that means buy low everything else. Okay, any questions on that so far, guys? Holy Phantom, did you manage to get the screen? Okay, I can look at dollar Swiss. So let's do a top-down analysis in dollar Swiss. So what did I say about the dollar? We're looking to sell it. So we're looking to buy low dollar Swiss. But let's look at the weekly chart. So we're up into a resistance area. On the weekly chart, a number of weeks in the blue, in the green. Potential long squeeze on a weekly basis. Daily basis, up in resistance as well. Considering my bearish bias on the dollar, I'm not really enjoying this chart. It's not giving me any signals that that we're heading lower. Or we have, let's see what's this candle looks like on the 4-hour chart. Can't see video. Okay, I'll come to your CAD yen in a moment, and I'll do a screenshot, and I'll also do a separate video for you in the after this meeting. Um, right. So I'm going to look at the 4-hour chart on this dollar Swiss. So we had a very bearish open, but it closed higher. So we had the gap. Okay, so we've had a gap. We've closed the gap. We're consolidating up top, trying to break lower. So on this hourly chart, we're looking a bit more bearish. W formation, which is a reversion pattern. It's not to say that that can't be the bottom, and we could come down to move up, but we are front side of the bearish trend for the day. Still haven't really put any significant structure, so still bearish on the day, even though it's tried to stabilize down here. But if the bears commit on this pullback, if there's going to be a pullback, so it's come up into resistance, W formation, neckline, so looking for the pullback into the neckline. And then if the neckline breaks, then there are prospects of a downside continuation in line with the bearish outlook for the US dollar. Okay, so targeting the opening lows for the day ahead. Right, so I've been asked for CAD yen. So CAD yen is in a bullish trend, and it's come up into resistance on the daily chart. So I'm just going to send that over in a screenshot into the chat. So we're at resistance. I don't want to be buying at resistance. I'd rather be selling, looking for signals of a deceleration of this bullish trend, which we're getting now on the hourly chart, which I'll send through in a moment. Just marking it up. So we've broken structure pretty much, and we're in consolidation and looking for a move to the downside. Right, so I'll send that through as well. Right, so that's the CAD yen. Being asked for euro dollar. Euro dollar, we had a first bullish close for a while on Friday. So I'm looking to buy low and I'm looking for the bullish correction. So we've started to correct and we're prospects of a move up. So let me come out to the daily chart. So we dropped, we closed higher close on Friday, looking for the bullish continuation up into test 106.80s and beyond. So looking to buy low in the session today. So we're sort of in consolidation. Let's look at the how we've performed in the sessions so far. It's a bit of a broadening range here. So we've got the Asian session and then the European session expanded the range on the day. So are we coming lower to expand that range even higher on the upside? That is what I'd be looking for the day ahead. So range expansion up into test the target area that we talked about. A broadening formation. Right, so perhaps we're coming lower to go up. So dump and pump, continuation trade for a move into stops above Friday's inside day highs near the 38.2, 106.80s and beyond. Same with regards to cable, would be the same scenario, I should imagine. Looking for a sort of dump and pump. So with cable, we're in more of a sort of a bullish channel. We had a very bearish open. Well, we had a strong move to the downside in Asia. So we've got a strong move to the downside. That's the low of the day, and now we're being resisted. Make that red for resistance, but it's actually a bullish channel. So looking for opportunities to buy low on the session. Okay, so that would be a setup for today to buy low on the session. So mark that green. So we've got euro and uh, cable looking bullish. If we look at CAD as well, Jay, if you can't see the video, try coming out and rejoining the group. And let me know when you say you can't see the video, what are you seeing? Three purple dots moving around, perhaps? Um, dollar CAD looking to buy low as well. Yes, the dots. Okay. Yeah, this is the same issue we were having before. We're buying yet another upgrade to see if we can't resolve that. That's something I'll raise with Yohei again. We spoke about last week, and I'll remind him again this week to see if we could look into this. Um, but there will be a video of this that I'll record, well, that I'm recording and post in the next, well, as soon as we come out of this meeting. So I'm about to wrap up. We've got dollar CAD as well, looking like with an opportunity to buy low. Um, we've got, let me clean up this chart entirely. So we've got an M formation on the daily chart. It's a reversion pattern. We're at support. So looking for a move up into the M formations, bearish downside impulse. And perhaps today could be the start of that move, or Friday was the start of the move. Perhaps we're going to rejoin that. So we've dumped, maybe we're going to pump for the day and move up. Looking for a higher close today. So 135.50s would be targeted as the high, but generally looking to close higher than Friday. And that would mean getting above Friday's closing price, which is about 135.14. So we're looking to get above that. And if we can't move all the way up into 135.50, at least closing above that level. So we get this continuation of a move up into the daily bearish trend. Gold, we can look at gold. So gold is sort of middle range at the moment. We've got this peak formation high. So we moved up, peak formation, came down, peak formation low, moved up. A consolidation, a peak formation below Friday's highs. Okay, so that's relatively bearish, but we're still front side of the bullish move. Right, so we've got a peak formation low that was made today in late European session down here, as you can see. Right, so are we now moving up? We've got the M formation here, the neckline that's acting resistance. Are we going to continue moving up? It's probable, so long as the dollar weakens off and if yields continue to drop, which it's looking like they want to. So looking for a buy in gold. It's not my best candidate because it's very lot of wicks here and it's middle of the range. I mean, on the day itself, let's look at the day itself. Um, so hopefully you're getting used to my squiggles by now and all the stuff that's on the charts. It looks a bit messy, but once you understand what you're looking at, it makes sense. So that's this red line over here was yesterday's closing price, Friday's closing price. So looking to stay above that if we've got a bullish thesis for the day. On the day itself, we rallied, right? So initial signs of strength. We were capped at Friday's highs, last week's highs, and subsequently dropped off. We've dropped off, and since then, so we made a peak formation in when? In the gap time, really, just ahead of the London Open. So the London session was a move lower. So are we going to get a short squeeze for the New York session? That's what we're looking for. We're still on the bullish side of the move. So today's trend is up, and we're still within that trend. We haven't broken London's lows. those could be a support structure for the day ahead. So I'll just draw that as sort of a supporting area, and looking to buy in here for a move up for a retest of these double top highs. There's bound to be stops above here that we could target. And in fact, looking for a move into 1932. The average true range on any given day within the last 21 days has been 24, no, sorry, about $16, right? $16. So on the day itself so far, we've only done 8 of those. So we could quite easily see a continuation up into the 30s. I've marked 1932 as it's a Fibonacci target. All right, so that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking to buy low in the gold market, but I want to be doing that at the low of the session. And I'm a bit concerned about the resistance of 1928. It's been the resistance so far again in the New York Open, and we're pretty wicky. We're volatile. We're not making any nice trending movements to the downside. It's all just very wicky. So not really my best candidate, but we'll leave it there as a potential buy opportunity. All right, so my favorites are the dollar CAD, euro dollar, um, cable, and gold to be buying low. But want to see yields really great when I was starting to see these yields come off. All right, so that's the 10-year yield there, maybe leading the way. Will the 2-year catch up? No. So 10-year yield leading the way. Maybe we'll get a jerk down in the 2-year as well, and that should underpin our bearish thesis for uh, the US dollar. All right, guys, so there we go. Again, at the closer we come to the Wall Street Open, the more likely we're going to see um, volatility and, well, price action pick up. So if you're looking to buy low, then we're looking for these parabolic movements to the upside, so that you can be in and out of the market and be done for the day, and not having to sit through like the kind of stuff we sat through in gold at the end of Friday, which took hours and hours to play out. So I'd rather be done and dusted within a couple of hours. Um, yeah, in these fast parabolic moves that don't tend to come back. So looking for a move up in euro dollar. Um, so let's see if we can't start. I'd rather be working the lows for the next. So this is the 15-minute chart. I'm hoping this will act as resistance, will come lower and lower still, and we'll be able to get a bargain buying low down here for the move up for the short squeeze. Okay, so I'm monitoring this, guys, and wish you a good trading day ahead. Appreciate you all. Thank you very much for being here. And let me know if you need me to cover anything else in the chat room, or go over anything that you're unclear of what we spoke about today.